Trouble in my way. I got to cry sometime. I have to cry sometime. So much trouble in my way. I got to cry sometime. I have to cry sometime. I lay awake at night. I lay awake at night. That's alright. That's alright. I get Jesus.
He was murdered by a San Francisco police officer, Kenneth Chow. Mr. Chow is walking around a free man. He not only killed my son, but he also killed a young man on Market Street. I'm here tonight, and I appreciate the fact that you invited us to be able to come here to speak. I worked at San Francisco General Hospital for 40 years as a head nurse in the pediatric clinic. I see Brenda standing right here, very, very good friend of mine. But I'm happy that I was able to come. I've been out there, me and my son, in the no-no land. My husband worked 30 years for Municipal Railway. He was not even able to attend his son's funeral because he was so sick. He passed away. I lost both of them in 2020. I've spent me and Kenneth, this is going into our second year. Kenneth Chow is still employed by the San Francisco Police Department. He's walking around, I guess, I don't know what he's doing. But I just don't understand why Mr. Chow is still walking around at the police department. I hear all of these things that the mayor of San Francisco, the new district attorney who that is stopping, and we go into the courtroom every month for the last 2 years. It's the beginning of a new year. We're now scheduled to go back into the courtroom in March to see what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. She's trying to throw it out. All we can do is just appear. My son didn't deserve to die. That officer, he came out to home in San Francisco on Capitol Avenue at 4 o'clock in the morning because the next door neighbor said my son had knocked on the wall. Doesn't he have a right to knock on the wall of a home where he lives? Yeah. Even if he knocked on the wall, did he deserve to die? No. To be shot by a San Francisco police officer whose duty is to protect the public? Nothing I can do about it, but the city paid. They paid because his civil rights were violated. Yeah. But they're still letting that officer work on the police force in San Francisco. Is that fair? No. Is that fair? No. And I know what that mother is going through. Oh, my time is up? Okay, I can go on and on and on and on. I'm sorry, I don't mean to take up anybody's time, but I'm still fighting for justice for my son.
My name is Mark Ostapiak. I'm a member of SEIU 1021. I'm a rank and file member. I'm here at a rally this evening against police brutality. I'm also here passing out a flyer with a group that I am with called SEIU Drop The Cops. Since 2020 and the mass uprising of 24 million anti-racist activists and the murder of Rashard Brooks by one of our members, Garrett Rolfe, who's a member of SEIU NAGE in Atlanta. He's an Atlanta cop. He murdered Rashard Brooks on June 12, 2020. So myself, along with a group of other members from SEIU, raised 5 demands. Number 1, to disaffiliate from all police unions. Number 2, to build an SEIU beyond policing and prisons. That labor in general drop all affiliation from cop unions. That SEIU drop any support for cop candidates, so candidates that receive money from police or support the police. And we are an SEIU for Black Lives. So we cite the Movement for Black Lives platform as sort of like an example of the kind of platform that an anti-racist union may have. So I'm here today trying to raise the awareness that...
But why is the SEIU supporting more money for the police in San Francisco? And the SEIU, Rudy Gonzalez, said that the SEIU and other unions wanted more money for the police at the Labor Council. He supported more money for the police. And the SEIU 1021 leadership.
There are 37,000 law enforcement that SEIU organizes throughout the country, 15,000 sworn officers. That's a lot of union dues. You know, I pay $100+ a month. So do the math, you know. They don't want to disaffiliate from dues paying members. When public sector workers are being decimated and the dues base is declining, one thing that you can count on in a capitalist society where police are there to protect and serve the interests of profit, the police will always remain intact and continue to grow. And, you know, Biden has proposed more money than Trump for the police, and all the unions back the Democratic Party. So,
are you for a Labor Party?
Absolutely, I'm for a Labor Party. Absolutely, 100%. And that's something that Labor should be working on building, for sure.
And do you think it's a bit hypocritical for them to talk about police violence at this rally at the same time they're supporting more money for the police?
Absolutely, absolutely. We need to have an honest discussion about what is happening in labor, where police continue to hold an inordinate sway of power within the unions. They do it silently and they do it with violence. So it's an inside-outside approach. When we go out on the picket line, they're there to break our strikes. And when we're in our unions, they serve to conservatize radicalization within our unions. Unions that are already bureaucratized, already not membership-led. So we need to have a more honest conversation where we call out the labor leadership that is supporting police, which is effectively taking money out of our communities for schools, for health care, and for mental health resources, and putting it into the coffers of a very violent and brutal institutions sworn to protect capital by any means necessary.
And are you aware that they voted against endorsing the Mumia rally called by the ILWU, the march and rally today?
I was not. Council? They did invoke, they did mention that today was a day of action for Mumia, but I was not aware of that fact.
Yeah, they refused to endorse it.
Amazing. So we see a lot of contradictions here. This is basically, you know, this is them putting on a good face, you know, saying Black Lives Matter, which we should of course support, but what are they doing? You know?
How can people get in touch with your group?
So we have some social medias. You can just basically Google SEIU Drop The Cops. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and we have an email at SEIUdropthecops@gmail.com. Get in touch with us. We love to organize.
We don't get no justice. They don't get no peace.